Luke Owen is the senior team captain of the 2025 Olympus Titans State Championship team. Luke was recognized as second team All-State and a member of the 5A All-Star team. In his senior season, he averaged 10 points, 7.3 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and 1.2 steals per game. He is a tough, fearless competitor, a sharpshooter, and an all-around solid person. We are honored to have him on the show to hear about his high school basketball journey and advice to young players. Luke, what a way to end your high school career. Take us through this last season, and what were kind of the moments that stood out to you? Not just winning the state championship, obviously, but moments throughout the season that kind of stood out for you that were awesome.
Yeah, it was such a great season this year, and a few moments that stood out were just over the summer, starting to play with that group at first and going to Section 7 in Arizona, winning that tournament, and just having a great off season with the guys, winning a lot, and that's when we kind of just knew it was going to be a good year, hopefully. And then going into the season, having a good first few games, that buzzer beater against Bingham, that was awesome. It was a good team we beat. And there were a lot of other games that just were a lot of fun, rival games, and finally just seeing what it's like to play on a varsity level. It was great.
Yeah, you guys were coming off of a state championship the year before, and then you really stepped into a major role this year. What was that like, being able to get so much more responsibility kind of thrown onto your shoulders this year?
Yeah, I mean, I played, I think, 2 minutes last year, varsity, and so it was awesome to finally get to play a lot of varsity and be a starter. It's something you always want to do, and to finally get that responsibility is, the first few games was a little rough, lots of turnovers, kind of just being timid and passing the ball whenever I got it, but then kind of just getting more comfortable and growing as a player throughout the season. It was really fun.
What did you notice was the difference in the varsity level step up, right? Based off of JV or coming up for sophomore JV, what, from your perspective, those first few games was different? What changed?
Yeah, so the defense is definitely a big step up. If you just have a lazy pass, it's going to get stolen. You got to be more strong with the ball, bigger guys, faster, more athletic, everything. Just, it's another level.
I want to jump in and just say we appreciate you wearing some legit swag.
Oh,
some
of course.
Olympus state champion swag.
Nice.
Because you know what? You won't know where a player's from if you don't rep it.
It's true.
So
I know.
thank you.
Of course.
So coming off a state championship, I want to ask you, because we asked one of your teammates, you obviously had a lot of pressure on you this year.
Yeah.
Coming off a state championship last year at Olympus. How did you prepare for each and every battle, knowing that every team was going to throw their best at you every night?
Yeah, that's something our Coach Barnes says a lot. There's just always a big target on our backs. So I think that's just something that Olympus always has. So you kind of get used to it almost, but just go out there and be calm and play your game and trust your teammates and let it happen, I guess.
There was a question from Instagram that I think applies right here.
Mm-hmm.
So from Instagram, Taylor Snow asked, how do you stay level-headed during high-intensity moments? So you mentioned like the overtime game with Bingham. There are a lot of close games that you had over the season, your first games of the year, and then also in the state tournament. So those are high-intensity, high-pressure, loud moments. And I agree with Taylor here, is you have this calm demeanor about you, even when everything is going nuts. Is there internally a lot going on that you just hide, or are you just naturally just kind of cool, calm, and collected?
I don't know. I feel like you kind of you live for those big moments. I'd rather play a close game and just battle instead of just a blowout game where you just know you're going to win. So definitely nervous, but I think if you just stay calm and don't have a lot of fear, I think usually works out pretty well.
I just offer very little on my questioning. So I'm curious, you're 6'4".
Mm-hmm.
Have you always been a big player, a big forward, or did you grow into your body later? When did you really grow and become the player that you are on the court today?
Yeah, I've always been, pretty tall for my age. Nothing like crazy, but above average. I was probably 6 foot freshman year and just kind of grew about an inch every year after that. So I've always been like a forward, at least at Olympus, maybe power forward. And then in the beginning of this year, center for a little bit, but then Davian came in and took that load off, luckily.
we were talking a little bit before we started here, and you played football a little bit your sophomore year. Did you play other sports growing up as a kid, including football, or was basketball always kind of your love?
Yeah, always played basketball, football, and I played baseball for till about 7th or 8th grade.
And when did you know, like, okay, I'm going to focus on basketball, and what kind of prompted that decision?
I've always been, I don't know, pretty good at basketball, but then as you get older, like freshman year, I didn't really know if I was going to make the team because even the freshman team, there's a lot of talent that year. So I made the team and definitely wasn't one of the best players, and just kind of kept working and just did the dirty work that year, rebounding, hustling a lot, and then finally started playing a lot that season, and it just was a lot of fun. And I think that's when I decided to really focus on basketball more. And
Yeah, so like a young Luke, what was basketball like? Was it junior jazz? Was it comp teams? Was it travel teams? What did that look like pre-high school?
yeah, so junior jazz up until I want to say 3rd grade, and then my dad just coached a super league team with a bunch of other Olympus guys until 8th grade, and we just played a bunch of teams around the state. It was a lot of fun.
What was that like? Because I'm assuming as you're growing up and coming into high school, you're kind of like always the best player on your team. Then you get to high school, and now it's a lot of the best players from teams that come in there. And so you mentioned that your freshman year, you weren't sure you were going to make the team and all the dirty work. What was that like for you mentally? Did you recognize that in the moment of, okay, I'm going to have to do all the stuff that's the little things and not necessarily be a main scorer to find time?
Yeah, definitely. I think some of those same players that were probably better than me, they kind of came there, and I just knew I wasn't going to be the best scorer, the best player. So my dad just always tells me to just do the things that other people aren't willing to do: rebounding, hustling, getting on the ball, getting all those loose balls.
Luke, no doubt Olympus High School has a rich history of being a basketball powerhouse, and there's no shortage of talent at the basketball level there. Talk to us a little bit about accepting that role, a little bit of a lesser role, because there's a lot of schools. I'm sure you could have been the absolute star and been the number one option, but your contribution helped Olympus win a state title, 2 state titles, and maybe started a legacy for a 3rd one as we talked to some of your teammates. Talk to us about accepting your role and being the best at it.
Yeah, so that's something at Olympus our freshman coach always told us is we're not here to play a certain way besides just learning to play the Olympus basketball way. That means not just ISOing every time you get the ball, being selfish, trying to score 30 points every game. It's just being a good shooter, being a good defender, making the right plays, and doing what's best for the team. So yeah.
There's a lot now in college of like the transfer portal, and then in high school even now with kind of the open borders and a lot of people moving. Was that ever a thought that crossed yours and your parents' mind of like, man, I'm not getting the playing time that I wanted? To his point, you could be a star somewhere else. Was that ever a thought in your mind, or was it just Olympus is what it is? I'd rather win a state championship here than be a star on some other team.
I always just thought I was always having fun playing on any level. You always think like, oh, it'd be great to play varsity, but I always just thought it'd be better to stay where I am. Even if you don't play varsity, it's all right. I had a great group of friends at Olympus, so I just stayed with it.
I just think that's great character for you, right? Because there's a lot that like, oh, as a freshman, I should be starting varsity.
Yeah.
The reality doesn't really quite turn out that way sometimes. Who are some more, you mentioned your dad, you've got Coach Barnes. Were there other influential coaches or players in your life kind of coming up that helped you be who you are?
Yeah, definitely. Both my grandpas, Danny Vrains and my grandpa Owen, Stan Owen, he's been a coach at Highland for forever, so they've just helped me a bunch. My grandpa was there for the state championship game on the floor, so that was really cool to play them in the state championship game. And he's done camps with my team just when we were younger and growing up, so they've been a lot of help to me.
You played at the University of Utah for the state championship, a Division I school for those that are watching that don't know. But talk to us about the difference in venue compared to playing at home or on the road versus playing in a bigger arena.
I mean, when you play at home, it's really fun. It's kind of packed in there, so a lot of noise. You can feel the buzz. But then you get to a big stage like that, the lights are on you. You walk in from the tunnel, and you can just feel everyone staring at you. It's crazy to play there, and it's kind of a big difference, but you get used to it. It's a fun time.
Was there any adjustment to a bigger floor or the college lines or the depth behind the basket that was different than playing at an Olympus or another high school?
Yeah, I think, like you said, the depth was kind of hard to shoot at first, and I felt like the floor was really good, like extra bouncy, so that was really nice.
Who was your biggest rival in region play, and who are you most concerned about in the state tournament?
I think Highland definitely was. We barely won at their place, last-second layup, and then they hit a last-second three on us at our place, so it was a lot of fun playing them, and they were tough. And in the tournament, I'd say probably them, because, I mean, this is the time we lost to them. We were up about 6, and then we just couldn't really put it away. They came back, and we made a few mistakes, and they punished us for that. So I was worried something like that was going to happen again.
They're a great team, and you ended up beating them by 29, so let's call it 30 points. In that game, was there a moment where you could kind of relax, or was it just because you knew that they could come back at any time? It was just like, our foot's going to be on the gas the whole time? Or was there ever a point there where you're like, this is pretty, like, I'm going to win the state championship early, like not in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty intense the whole time, but then the fourth started, and we're like, just keep going. Just keep putting the pressure on him. And then maybe 4 minutes left, I'd look at the score. We're up, I don't know how much we're up, 25 or something. And me and Ty just look at each other, and we're like, kind of realized we're going to do this. And it was a crazy feeling. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Do you have a piece of net to, show proof of your state championship, or what other things may or may not have been taken from the University of Utah that day?
Yeah, I've got the net, and then I've got one of those Gatorade towels I found.
Love that.
Wrote the score on it, wrote the year. It's great.
Love it.
So those are my souvenirs.
This is funny because very few people get to end the year as only one team does, right? And so how long was it between when the game ends to when you got out of there? Because like all the celebrations and stuff, what did that look like?
Yeah, so the game started at 7:30, and then I think after cutting the nets down, celebrating in the locker room and getting ready, I think we left at about 10:15, I want to say.
All right.
Yeah.
Coach Barnes is a legend. No other way to say it. Talk to us a little bit about playing for Coach Barnes. Is there an intimidation as a player? Is it just exciting? What things have you learned from him? We often talk about coachisms. Does he have any that he consistently says that have stuck with you that you'd share with us?
Yeah, Coach Barnes he's a great coach, but he's also such a great guy. I mean, he does these summer camps every year for all the kids, so I've been going to those my whole life, so I've gotten to know him. And freshman, sophomore, junior year, not your actual coach, but he's obviously the head coach, so he just watches you play and you get to know him more, and he's the best. He's a legend around the school for sure, and he lets you play freely, so you're not really scared to make a mistake, so it lets you play as yourself and play to your strengths, so that's great. And a few coachisms, he always says after a good win, he just tells us how it's hard to win, so he tells us to enjoy that, and before every game he'll tell us to just be confident and play like we know how to play.
I've asked several coaches, how do they create that freedom, that ability for their players to feel confident in what they're doing and not second guess themselves? As from the player's perspective, what did he do to kind of help you with that, to help feel free and not afraid of messing up? Yeah,
I think at the beginning of the year, I was definitely just nervous when I make a turnover that I was going to get pulled out. But as the season goes on, he's a guy that just leaves you in there, and he won't scream at you for any mistakes. He'll tell you, like, if you miss a shot, just keep shooting. It's a great shot. And he just kind of reaffirms you with that positivity that really helps you believe in yourself.
He's a guy that so I thought about going to Olympus when I was in high school. There's like a whole story behind that. But he's a guy that every time I've been around him, you just kind of want to impress him. He just has that aura or vibe about him. Where you just like, I want to impress this guy. Is there ever, are there players that will push back, or is there opportunities for you to push back on him, or is it just kind of what he says goes?
Yeah, definitely what he says goes. I mean, everyone just knows his legacy, so you just can't question that.
Yeah.
Embarrassed to interject with this, but as you may or may not know, my co-host here, Eric, he's an addict. He has a number of colorways of Devin Booker's new shoe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe more than 6.
It's a problem.
Maybe less than 8. But do you have a favorite basketball shoe, or a player who's put out a shoe that you love to wear because it does something well?
I've always loved the PG5s, Paul George. Kind of a random answer, but I got him sophomore year, and I loved him. So before they stopped selling them, I got probably 4 pairs and just been wearing them ever since. I love those shoes. They're great.
I noticed those when you were playing. I was like, are those them? Because I don't think you can get those
Yeah,
anymore.
I've had them for a while.
It kind of brings up too, because I've been on a quest for the perfect basketball shoe, and I think I found it. But then the second quest of that is the perfect basketball sock. And so you actually had a question from Yomax 3. What are your go-to basketball socks?
My classic, just white Nike Dry Fits. It's a good go-to.
Did they have, are there rules on the team of what kind of shoes you can and can't wear, colors you can and can't wear, socks, all that stuff?
Yeah, so Barnes is really big on just traditional stuff, white socks for games, and then for the past 2 years for shoes, he's kind of let you wear more colorways, but it used to just be it's like white, black, or gray. But past few years, it's just kind of whatever you want for shoes.
Take us through some, what are your game day traditions, both as a team and you personally? I had some superstitions that I would go through. Do you have any of that?
Yeah, I mean, during the state tournament, I was very superstitious. I would just think about the game we got coming up and be like, oh man, we got to win. I just always have to knock on some woods. But I don't know, some game day traditions. I think I would always have my dad stretch me before I went to the school just to feel loose before you stretch again and go do some warm-ups. And then I would always have some, like a caffeine packet and a water. Just, I don't know why, just get
What
some
flavor?
energy. Grape, kind of random. But yeah, we would always listen to one song, Nightcrawler,
Okay.
because after last year, after we listened to it for the first time, we didn't lose the rest of the season. So brought that tradition this year and still working.
Awesome. There's another question about that of, do you listen to Gone, Gone, Gone by Philip Phillips?
I do. My good friend, Ian, we always listen to that at lunch the day of a game or something. Yeah.
Ian has a lot of questions
man.
for you, so we might jump into a couple of those.
All right.
One of them is pretty open. How do you do it?
How do you, it's an inside joke for all the Olympus team. Just someone does something good. How do you do it, man? How do you do what you do? Just kind of a compliment to whoever.
Ian also asks, could you beat Dutch Dowdell in a 1v1?
I could definitely beat Dutch Dowdell. Great player, but I would definitely beat him.
Is there anything that you guys wear on game days to kind of, show team camaraderie,
Like
shirt
sweats?
and tie, sweats?
Yeah. Well, Barnes is big on gear, so he gets us a lot of gear to wear throughout the year. And almost everyone will wear, sometimes we coordinate, sometimes we just wear a hoodie, our Olympus sweats, just anything. But then during the state tournament, we always wore our black on black travel gear for game day, so that was a lot of fun.
If all my gear said state champions all over it for multiple years, I would have a lot of gear too.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd wear it all
That's
the
true.
time.
I'd
That's
wear it
true.
all the time.
So watching you play, I would describe how you play as just tough. You're just a tough guy. You said you were playing 5 for part of the year.
Yeah.
Watching that Springville game against Jamin, I mean, you're taking on a guy who's 6'9", 6'10". He's got 4 or 5 inches on you. He's got, I don't know how much you weigh, but I think he weighs like 225.
Yeah,
So he's got a lot of weight
he's a
on you
beast,
too.
yeah.
And you just don't back down from that. And you thrived with that. So have you always had that toughness, or is that something that you kind of had to build up as you got older?
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that I built up as I got older. I think just becoming a good rebounder over the years, kind of something that helped with that, just boxing out and not being afraid to get hurt or anything, just kind of playing with that intensity to take on anyone.
I want to ask you about an upcoming LDS mission call that you've received. Do you want to tell the viewers where you're going for the next little while?
Yeah, so I got my mission called to Arequipa, Peru. So it's like the south part of Peru.
Do you already
congrats.
speak Spanish?
Yeah, I've done Spanish in a dual immersion, so I know Spanish pretty well.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What would you describe as your scholarship shot? Does that make sense? My dad called it a scholarship shot. What is the shot that you are best at that would earn you a scholarship is how he described it to me.
I mean, maybe that corner 3.
Yeah.
Hit a lot of those for the state tournament, so I'd say that corner 3 shot.
We do have another question from Instagram
Oh, okay.
from Dave Owen. Is this
It's my dad.
okay?
Oh, yeah.
The way he was talking, it felt like it might be an uncle, but
Really?
that's great. Glad it's your dad. What did you do to improve your shot? You ended at 43% from the 3-point line on the year.
Yeah, I mean,
Great percentage, by the way.
Yeah,
Really
thanks.
good.
Yeah, just shooting every day over the off season. Just shooting a ton of shots, not just catch and shoot, but game like shots, full speed, and I think just practicing those a lot helps you translate to the game. Yeah.
Can I go a little deeper on that?
Mm-hmm.
What specifically drills would you do to replicate game-like speed? Because I think that's a big problem with people is just catch and shoots, and then you get in a game and you're not standing in one spot all the time. The adrenaline is up there. You're tired. What drills would you do to try to replicate that?
Yeah, I would do some drills that just would kind of tire me out. So I'd run around just the 3-point line a few times. Then I'd just throw the ball at myself and shoot. And then my cousins have a shooting machine that I used a lot, so that was really helpful. So I'd be able to run from one side to another and dribble, do a few moves, and then do a step back into a 3 or something. Yeah.
The Dave Owen, your dad, also asked, and we touched on
By the
Dave
way,
Owen.
Dave Owen.
we touched on this a little bit before, but did your family pressure you to play basketball since you're related to Vrains and Judkins?
I don't know. I wouldn't say pressured. Maybe my grandpa Owen did. He's big into basketball, but they never really like forced me to play or anything. It's kind of something that I grew to love on my own.
Talk to me about your teammates. So this year, go through Barnes doesn't have a very deep bench that he plays. It's like 7 deep maybe. So go through the teammates you had. What do you respect about them? What was fun playing with them?
Yeah, we'll start with Gavin. Just Mr. Basketball, such a good player to play with. He's tough to stop. He's a beast. He's such a good player. And then Caden's such a good shooter. He's such a nice guy. He might not look like it on the court. He's always getting fired up, but he's such a good guy. Great player as well. And then Ty is my best friend. We've been playing since 5th grade probably. We always hang out, same grade and everything. He didn't get a lot of praise this year award-wise, but he's a very good player. He just does everything. Shoots the ball well, gets the hoop, great defender. He had some clutch offensive rebounds during the state tournament. And then Davian's only a sophomore. We didn't know how he was going to be at the beginning of the year, but then he just started playing amazing. Such a good shooter, found his confidence, and he's a beast on defense. He got a ton of blocks this year. And then Jack Evans, great defender. He's a beast too, football guy. So he just barrels him in there and makes a good spin move. It's his go-to. It's great.
You talk about Ty not getting the recognition and just being at those state tournament games. It was fun. So I sit there with my son and my dad, who's old, and he's been a basketball guy forever. And so Gavin obviously gets a lot of attention, but that's why it was so exciting to be able to talk to you and to watch Ty. And we mentioned it in our tournament recap of all those players. You all do so much of the little things so well that if Gavin were to just go do Gavin's thing, you wouldn't be nearly as successful as the rebounds, the open shots, Tim View game, right?
Yeah.
Anytime they get close, it's like you just throw in a
Kick
3
out
and just
3, yeah. It's great.
Or if they miss, then you've got an offensive rebound. So that's so cool. And with Ty being your best friend for so long, who wins one-on-one there? Who's the better basketball player?
I don't know. That's going to be a close one. I think I'm taking that one though. Sorry, Ty.
Ty, if you're watching this, you'll have to come on the show and defend yourself, I guess. Yeah. But hey, I hope these stats are correct. But this year you were named second team All-State.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's a huge honor.
I know. That was awesome.
That's a little different than just all-region. I mean, second team All-State's a big deal.
That was crazy.
And listen to this, Eric. He averaged 9.5 points, 7.3 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and 1.2 steals per game, which the number there that jumps out to me is the rebounds because we've talked about that. And you are both 6'4", obviously probably play a little different positions. But
I played a 1 and a 2.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, 6'4", yeah, you might be a primary ball handler or shooter or scorer, but to average 7.3 rebounds tells me you're a dog. So that's awesome, and it was fun watching you play.
Yeah.
And I think he had 4 steals in the Highland game, and I mean, you're just a beast. So super, super cool. I want you to take us now through kind of the realities of high school basketball. So think of an 8th grader is going to become a 9th grader and potentially make the freshman team. What does that schedule look like? What does that physically look like? Not just the practices, but conditioning or weights or anything else. Take us through kind of the realities, time commitment of high school.
Yeah, so in season, just 2 to 3 hours of practice a day, and then games, obviously. And then not just practice, but getting shots up on your own whenever you can. And
That's in the 2 to 3 hours. So practices
That's kind of additional practice.
on
and
top
then,
of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then conditioning, you always got to stay in shape. So if you feel yourself like dragging during a game, I would always just go run around my neighborhood and try to get back in shape. But then off season, I think that's really when I did most of my weightlifting because I didn't really want to mess my shot in the season. So I tried to get about one workout a day in for lifting and then also shooting and just playing a few times a week.
Is that shooting at a church? Is it at a gym? Is it a
Yeah, just at a church or at any gym I could find, yeah.
How do you balance that with school and keeping grades up and staying on all that, plus a social life?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's kind of hard to balance all that, but I think you just got to prioritize some things. Like for me, this senior season, I just really want to have a fun basketball season, and I think I prioritized that, but also prioritize my schoolwork at the same time. So something that I did, we have something called flex time, which really came in handy. It's just 30 minutes we have during lunch. So we have an hour lunch or 30 and 30. So I would go in to class that I needed to work on homework in or retake a test or something and that. So it's kind of how I balance it, I'd say.
Nice.
When you look back on your high school career and time at Olympus, maybe this won't even be a basketball question, but what are you going to remember most?
I'm definitely just going to remember like the people. Olympus is such a great school, such a great community. We got a lot of support from the fans this year and students, so that was great. I think my teammates, we had such trust in each other and such bonds, even with all the JV guys. We hang out with each other like every night, so we're all just a big group of friends. And the coaches, practices are so much fun with them. They're some funny guys, so just that.
Is there anything from your career now at Olympus that you appreciate now that it's over that maybe you didn't particularly pay attention to or like in the moment?
Yeah, something I'd say is the coaches always tell us how they're not only coaching us to be better basketball players, but better men. So they just give us a lot of good teachings and lessons that I've definitely used to grow as a person and a player. So, yeah.
And I think a lot of those too may come out even in years to come.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
Certainly from your parents too, being a parent myself.
What do you do for fun outside of sports?
Hang out with my friends a lot. Just shoot if I can anymore. hang out with family. Just work sometimes and just hang out. Yeah.
Tell me about the 5A 6A All-Star game.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. Barnes told me like earlier that week that I was in the running or something in the voting, and then he texted me that I was going to play in it. And then the article came out on Deseret News of who the team was going to be. So I saw that, and I knew the guys, but I wasn't really close friends with any of them. So he showed up that night, and I was just waiting for other guys to get there, then start showing up, and we start talking a bit, and that was really fun because, I mean, these are like your rivals, like some of the Brighton guys, Highland, and you don't know what to expect, but then they're just like you. They're cool guys who just love to play basketball. So that was a lot of fun.
How did you draw up the half-court football snap
Oh, that was a great
shot?
play. I don't know. Jack Anderton just told me, here, I'll pass you the ball and just snap it back to me. All right. So it was a fun play.
Got a couple dunks too.
Yeah.
So what is it like playing in that environment where everything is so intense? But that one was a little bit more of have fun. Is it kind of harder to play in that?
I think I was a little nervous because I didn't know like if we were going to be trying hard or just kind of playing whatever. But they were different spans where you'd kind of towards the end a lot, kind of play more defense and just didn't want to score as more. But then there's sometimes obviously someone's driving down the lane, you just kind of lay back and let them dunk, just have fun. Yeah.
Do you take pride in the fact that 5A beat 6A? Is that a
Definitely. I think 5A showed out, and that was a great time.
I want to know who your favorite NBA basketball player is and favorite collegiate player.
Oh, that's a good question. I like LeBron. He's just a great guy, great player. It's fun to watch.
Do you and Gavin argue about that? Because I think
Gavin's an MJ guy.
Yeah.
He is, yeah. Sometimes, but
Have you
LeBron's
watched
better.
both Space Jams?
I have. Well, actually, I've not seen Space Jam 2. Only Space Jam 1, so
Makes sense.
that might be. I don't know if I could watch that second one.
Oh, that's awesome. What about college? Like, or
College.
even growing up? Like, who did you look up to that wasn't in the NBA?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a big Utah fan, so haven't been that great in the past few years, but 2015, 2016, those few years, DeLon Wright, Jakob Poeltl, Kyle Kuzma, they're so fun to watch, so I love those teams. some of those guys.
Dang good players.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great.
Yeah. Didn't realize how good they were till they took the next
I
step
know.
to the NBA.
Yeah, they're great players.
These are some more Instagram questions for you.
Okay.
What is your most impressive basketball feat? From Colin Mauga?
I'd say just 2 state championships, definitely.
Humble brag, but nothing
Okay.
wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
How has your sun tanning been?
Oh, that's Gavin. Oh, man. Gavin was trying to get me to come play the other day. I was laying out in the sun, enjoying. My ankle was killing me, so I wouldn't be able to play. Sorry, Gav.
Who's your favorite teammate in Ecuador other than Ty?
Teammate, Neil. Neil Alstrom and Caden Goodell.
Oh, there
Good
it is
guys.
from Caden. So
That was from Caden, yeah.
Emerson Morphy?
Mm.
How do you keep such a strong, good testimony while balancing basketball? It really is truly inspiring.
It's a great question. I think seminary is something that kind of I've loved doing. Going to seminary just keeps you, it's like takes the pressure off of you throughout the day. And another thing is just going to the temple. Me and Ty, the night before the state championship game, we had some jitters, we were a little nervous, so we decided to just go to the temple and just somewhere we find peace and just we're able to feel calm there. So it was great.
That's awesome. What is your favorite treat from Yomax 3?
My favorite treat, maybe just some caramel popcorn, homemade.
All right.
Yeah.
Walker Gowan, when was your biggest leap in high school? And I'm assuming that's not like physically jumping
Yeah,
highest, but like your biggest
as a player.
improvement. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd probably say freshman to sophomore year or junior to senior year. It's both big jumps.
What contributed to it, and what was the difference between your skill set or what you felt uncomfortable with and then comfortable with?
I think from freshman to sophomore year, I became a better shooter. I mean, freshman year I was not really that good of a player, and we had 12 kids my age on the team freshman year, and then that sophomore year, a bunch of them got cut, so only 3. So that kind of gave me a lot of confidence that I was kind of doing the right thing. So I think that helped me find out who I was as a player. And then from junior to senior year, knowing that you're a senior and it's your last year and just playing with a lot of confidence and growing physically, I think helps a lot. Yeah.
That's amazing. 12 down to 3. We had talked how my freshman class had 18,
Oh, wow.
and then there were 4 of us by the end. So that attrition of
Mm-hmm.
just because you make a team as a freshman doesn't mean you're going
Yeah,
to play varsity basketball.
definitely.
We're going to have a future interview with a local high school coach that talks about it. I think he calls it the reverse funnel, but if I'm goofing that up, I'm embarrassed. But we'll talk about that in a future show too.
Your top 5 NBA players of all time.
Oof,
Controversial here.
it's tough.
Starting 5.
Let's see. LeBron, Michael Jordan.
In that order?
Yes.
I think that's his order.
Those are my order. The rest is just random. I'm going to say Kareem, Kobe. Oof. I don't know about that 5th one. Maybe Wilt. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a tall
Kinda
team
random,
and some
yeah.
great guards.
I'm curious to know, do you have siblings?
I do. I have twin brothers in 8th grade and then a sister in 7th grade.
So you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest, yeah.
You're the oldest.
The leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure your parents feel like they couldn't have asked for anyone better. I mean, you're awesome. You're awesome. Very
thank you.
respectful and
Thanks.
mature. And
You never bug your siblings? Or you always
not
go along?
really.
are your twin brothers going to play basketball, or do they?
Yeah, they play basketball. They play a lot of sports. They play basketball, football, lacrosse, and they're great athletes. So we'll see what they do in high school. Excited to see them.
Always going to have to live up to their older brother
Yeah,
who's
it's
got
tough.
2 state championships. What about your sister? Does she?
Yeah, she's
enjoy
also
sports?
she's really good. She plays soccer. She's a goalie. She's
Oh, cool.
small, but she's really tough. She's great.
That's awesome.
Something that runs with the family.
Oh, yeah.
Toughness.
Toughness,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. It's good.
This is a first on Instagram. We have someone from Woods Cross men's volleyball, so another school
Opposing school. Huh?
comes in, and I don't get the question. Hopefully you do. How does Lottie Parker Stanger help you before your basketball games?
Oh, Lottie Parker's.
Lottie Parker.
I know a Lottie Stanger. That's my
Lottie
girlfriend.
Stanger.
She's
Oh, okay.
She's
There you
very
go.
supportive. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're trying to say. I don't know. Yeah, she's the best. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I looked up Lottie Stanger as they spelled it, and it was like an author. So
Oh, really?
your girlfriend has the same
She's
name
an
as an
author.
author.
That's good.
So
Oh,
that,
that's
that
awesome.
helps.
Yeah.
That's all the Instagram questions I have.
I think it's fair of me just to make a a quick conclusion that he is extremely well liked, right? The most questions we've seen a player
ton of
receive.
questions.
Yeah.
Nice.
And even at the 5A All-Star game, I mean, he had this student section that was on him
Oh,
the
yeah.
entire time.
That's
That
awesome.
was awesome.
No.
Yeah, I got a great group of friends and great family that comes and supports me a ton. It's awesome.
We appreciate you taking some time with us. As we mentioned, this whole podcast is built around kids coming up and interviewing coaches, but also players that they can look up to, not just as basketball players, but as people.
Yeah.
So I want you to go back to being a freshman, and I want you to give yourself advice, knowing that freshmen will be listening to this. What advice would you give an aspiring high school basketball player?
Yeah. So advice I'd give is just kind of grow to love the game and just really want to get better, not just because someone else is pressuring you to, but just because you want to, and just give it your all. You really got nothing to lose, and just work as hard as you can.
That's awesome.
If the opportunity arises to go play college basketball, would you be open to it?
Yeah, I would definitely be open to it. It's always been a dream of mine, so that'd be a lot of fun, I think.
I think there's some college somewhere that needs to see this and see the quality person you are
Love
and,
to,
and
yeah.
the toughness that we just talked about as a player. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, Luke, you're awesome. Again, thank you for taking this time to spend with us, and people can follow you, and we'll be following you as well. And good luck in Peru. That'll be life-changing.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. It's been great.